Welcome to Female Founder Fridays. This is Niamh Bushnell, and Female Founder Fridays is part of TechIreland's 100 million campaign to track 100 million in funding for female founders in Ireland.
I founded Dr. Coy's in 2014, which seems almost like a lifetime ago. I had moved back to Ireland and was on parental leave from Hewlett Packard, but I had met Dr. Coy or heard him speak at a conference in Germany and was just truly inspired by his work in the area of cancer research. And he had discovered these rare low glycemic sugars that could be used in food. So when weighing up, would I go back and work with my great career or the career that I had in Hewlett Packard, or set something up by myself? I think it was just the passion about what he had discovered. So I went and approached him to take this, I suppose, discovery out of the healthcare industry and bring it into the more mainstream food market.
I think a lot of women, during their career have sort of periods of up and down, and I like getting things done, and sometimes you can only do so much. But when the scope opened in terms of what I could do, because my kids were moving on to college, this opportunity came, and I remember at the time thinking, I need to go and do a master's now, or I need to go off and step myself back up again. And this opportunity presented itself, and I've thrown myself into it now. I think the masters might have been easier. It's been very hard work, but it's been really, really rewarding, and I'm learning every single day, so it's been great.
Before this, you were involved in many businesses. I mean, you've been a business leader in Ireland, and now you've become a founder. What's that transition like, or what's the difference between the two?
Yeah, I mean, I speak a lot now about entrepreneurship and leadership, but I mean, I worked for other people until I was 35, and started working when I was 17, so I had a very long career of working with other organisations. And it is very different, I think, when it's your own business, when you have skin in the game, when it's your cash on the table. That's a hugely different issue. But I think what you can look back on when you've worked for other organisations is, pick the best bits, pick the key learnings, pick the things, maybe the lessons that you learned on other people's salary, frankly.
Yeah.
But to take those learnings and put them into a new business, and try and craft them in a way that makes it better.
No interest in building a tech company at that time. I actually went to find a tech tool, franchise it back to my consultancy so I could put it as part of a package, could not find a tool that focused on feedback, and I was like, this is madness, and I knew that performance management was on the cusp of a change. It wasn't mainstream at that stage, it wasn't a big topic. It is now a big talking point topic. You can't hit a HR conference without it being one of the leading topics on it now. But back then, when I was looking for the tool, it just wasn't there, it wasn't a big topic. And I just thought, you know what, probably naively, I kind of went, why don't we just build it ourselves?
Yeah.
We know what we want to deliver. I, of course, had no idea what I was in for, and, the complexities of managing a technology solution of that nature.
At Opening.io, we built a cognitive engine that matches people to jobs. At its simplest, we're a team of data scientists who had looked at the recruitment world as a whole. We were very frustrated candidates and hiring managers, and we said, can tech and data solve this problem? So really what we have is algorithms that match people to jobs.
I worked in Setanta Sports before I set up Actionista, and that's where I really got to know the challenges that we're facing, TV companies, and the evolution of video, and what it was leaping from televisions in the living room onto digital and mobile devices. And I think it was even before the iPad came out that we founded Actionista, so there was tons of stuff happening.
From the news and everywhere, you can see that diverse companies produce better products, more sustainable products, and they bring more innovation to the company. So this is proved by many organizations and research. So, and plus equality side as well. We need to be equal from all perspectives at workplaces. Women in tech was my passion from the beginning. I worked in tech companies for 10 years as a software engineer, and the lack of number of women in tech is definitely something that I wanted to focus on from the very beginning. But I didn't want to only look at it from one side. I wanted to actually bring all people from different backgrounds so that we could make towards our goals to make equality in workplaces from all different perspectives. So our voice gets bigger when we get together.
I'm a pharmacist by profession, and saw that there was a serious global problem of medication errors. So, you know, for example, there's 4 jumbo jets of people actually died through medical error, medication error being a huge part of that in the States every week.
Wow.
So this is a global, you know, it's like a silent epidemic that needed a solution. And as a pharmacist, I felt compelled, I felt it was in my gift because a lot of it was preventable. So as a professional, I couldn't stand by and do nothing about it. So I just thought I'll dedicate my career and large proportion of my life to solving this problem. So it's been a fantastic journey.
People talk about product market fit all the time. It's like some kind of Zen state that you achieve. It's something you have to continually make sure you're hitting. And that's something that like we live and breathe that stuff because we're talking to customers every day. But all of our team is really, you know, especially in the early customers that we had, we just got to know them really well. We got to know what their challenges were and really develop our product in line with that.
I spent 4 years researching wireless sensor network applications for honeybee health, and during that time I won an award and I was interviewed on Morning Ireland one morning, and basically after that, that was brilliant.
What was the award that you won?
So it was the IEEE IBM Students for a Smarter Planet Challenge. It was a really long name, but the important thing was that our project came first and the project from MIT came second. That's big. Why the interviews were happening. Yeah.
Fiona from work first.
Yeah.
MIT second.
Yes. Yeah.
I love it.
That's why there was a lot of kind of celebration over the award, really. Because beekeepers don't have access to the information that they need, they end up losing a huge proportion of their beehives. Okay. So that's really what we're aiming to do. So help them, you know, you don't need to fix the really, really complicated problems, things like colony collapse disorder right now. You know, if you can just help beekeepers identify, okay, there's 10 hives over there that are starving, that's 10 hives saved, and that's a significant amount of, you know, honey and pollination and all different kinds of things like that. One of the big disadvantages that women face when they go on to like leading anything, it's not just entrepreneurship, like definitely seen it in engineering and everything else as well, is that women are very kind of, you know, we think more about our negative qualities and we're always kind of like, oh, don't put yourself forward, don't step out of the line, don't say I can do this and I can do it better than anyone else. And then Irish people get the exact same thing. So when you're an Irish woman, you're just kind of like, you know, you'll never ever get out of your box ever.
Being a founder comes with all that risk, like you say, but it is a high.
Yeah, it's
right?
a big high.
And if you get a high, then it's probably the right thing for you.
Oh, I was so excited, ready, beyond ready to do my own thing. I loved working in the corporate world, but to be honest with you, it's very hard to be an entrepreneur. I know we all talk about entrepreneurship, but if you're working for a big group where the strategy is set at the centre and the leadership comes from the top, and you're really just part of this huge big wheel, and you're just churning your bit of it and doing your best, and there was the freedom to do things, but not the freedom maybe to go out and raise funds and, you know, to grow through acquisition and all the things I wanted to do.
Yeah.
And I don't know, I just had a sense at that stage in my life I wanted to be my own boss.
Yeah.
You know, and it is the oddest thing that my husband Richard was a broadcaster and totally risk averse. And, you know, would just like put his hand over his eyes when I started talking about money, don't talk la la. Whereas I had not a single moment of doubt. I knew I wanted it. It didn't matter what the financial difficulties were going to be. I just had that self-belief that said if I worked hard enough and I put in the hours and I took no holidays, I could make this work.
Mm-hmm. And it was worth it all.
And it was worth it all. I had no doubt in my mind. And now I look back on that foolhardy woman now, I think, you know, what on earth were you thinking of? Like, I just had that, honestly, I just believed that my brain plus hours plus work plus street smarts were going to make it.
Yeah,
you know?
I remember one meeting and I was just baffled because they kept saying, but when are you running out of money? And I was like, no, I'm going to make some money, you know. So, like, you have all these moments where they think about your world in terms of 3-year runways, and you're thinking about your world in terms of how do I get through the next 6 months.
We are here today with Trish Scanlon, the CEO and founder of Soapbox Labs. Thanks so much for being here, Trish.
Thanks for inviting me.
One of my favourite Irish companies.
Oh, fantastic.
Tell us all about Soapbox Labs.
So Soapbox Labs, we develop speech recognition specifically for children. So it is a kind of known problem in academia. People are beginning to be familiar with this concept now that voice recognition doesn't work. That's been designed for adults. built off adult data. It doesn't work as well for children, and below the age of 12 it starts getting progressively worse as you get into about the age 4.
And it's great to be in the middle of it and based in Dublin.
Yes. Oh yeah.
It's a fabulous community here for really cool deep tech companies like yours.
It is, and it's a great bed for hiring as well, and it's an attractive place for people to come too. I think there's a lot of good reasons. I mean, when we say, you know, we do all our tech in Dublin, it's actually competitive with the US. So if you try to hire in AI now in the US, you'll struggle. You certainly struggle as a startup to be hiring quality, experienced people in the Valley. So Dublin has a remarkable advantage.
When I worked in Oracle, which was my first job, I remember sitting with the team of people I was with and saying, you know, I'd love to start a company. That drive really drives you to sit at your kitchen table and try and figure it out on your own. But I was a lucky person over my career that I got to work with really great people. And those great people, some of them joined me later on in the journey at Acumetrics. So our CTO and our COO worked with me in Norcom.
I think Ireland is absolutely fantastic from an angel and seed level. We came through Leo in Wexford, availed of a primary grant fund and went on to Enterprise Ireland, the HPSU High Potential Startup, and we've received investment and match funding. And we secured angel investors of Dan and Linda Kiley, and we're about to announce further angels. Fox Pro, we've done so well. And we've even had a leader of one of our customers invest, which is good validation of our product. I can't say enough about the Irish diaspora. I know we've 4 or 5 million people here in Ireland, and yet there's about 70 million of us around the world. But they're wonderful, and I think that they're very supportive of Enterprise Ireland companies that are trying to go global from Dublin, or in our case, Gorey. So that's been wonderful.
My husband gives out to me all the time. He says, you need a hobby. You need. He bought me an easel. I used to paint when I was in school. I was reasonably good at art, and he bought me an easel and a bunch of oil paints one year. And I have never taken it out of the wrapper. And he goes to the gym. You know, he's got all these other hobbies. He's like, you need a hobby. You need a release. You need to get out of your head. Just enjoy yourself. And I'm like, I love business. I just love it. Mm-hmm. And there's no other way of describing it. I wake up thinking about it. I go to sleep thinking about it.
I do think that going into an entrepreneurial endeavour straight out of college, you do learn quite a lot out of it. Like I would probably never have come into marketing or sales. The insights I've gotten from being able to talk to different companies, I probably would have never got that if I had done a PhD. So it's all about, I suppose, learning and growing out the tool set that you have. So that's something that we would have always been kind of like told in our family, was that you need to build out a toolkit. So you have your tech, you have your marketing, you have your sales, and the more tools you can get, the more you will be kind of ready for the workforce of the future. Because no matter what way it goes, you'll have some bit of an insight into what's going to be happening. So I really like picking up the different areas and learning the technical side of marketing, but also the creative side of it, and the creative side of the tech. So it's mapping the different learnings on is very interesting.
When you know that you can make a difference and make an impact, it's very hard to not do something about that. And I think that's what every entrepreneur is driven by, because business is all about solving a problem, and especially if it's a big global problem, then that's what drives you to get up in the morning to solve this problem.
Every time I have a big problem to solve, I go to my network first. Then I might go to our non-executive directors or the board or a consultant or whatnot. But the founder network, people that have done this already, it's who I call first. And that is, I believe, very characteristic of Ireland.